Hi, hello, and welcome to PJs and Pages. I'm Danielle, and if you're new here, I am a stay-at-home mom. I read a whole ton of books, and I did used to be a teacher before I became a stay-at-home mom. So today I am going to be starting a new vlog. In this vlog, I am going to be reading just purely library books. One of my goals this year is to start utilizing my local library more, and in the spirit of that, I did check out, actually I checked out four. I checked out four books, but I've already read this one. So I checked out four library books, and in this vlog, I'm gonna be reading three of them. So for our vlog, we've got Orbital by Samantha Harvey, which seems to be like a kind of literary sci-fi book about a period of 24 hours up in space in a satellite, I guess. Yeah, so it's gonna follow a larger cast of characters and their adventure in space. Then we've got The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall, and this one looks like it is kind of maybe magical realism, but a generational story with a little bit of romance. And yeah, it says it's for fans of the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, Gilmore Girls, and Practical Magic. So totally up my alley, and I've been jonesing for a cozy read. So I'm excited to read that one. And finally, a historical fiction, The Radcliffe Ladies Reading Club by Julia Bryan Thomas. And this one follows four college students who basically start a book club at a little bookshop. And as they're dealing with, you know, being a woman in the 1950s and trying to get an education. So very excited to start that one. I think I am going to start with Orbital by Samantha Harvey, just because I think it's a quick read and I want to jump off with something like that. It is really short. It is just 207 pages. It's practically nothing, and the pages are really small. The type is not that small either. So yeah, excited to get started on this, and I will take you guys along for the ride. Come along. All right, I am not very far into Orbital by Samantha Harvey, but I am enjoying the language in it. It's beautiful writing. It's really nice. I was under the impression that it's science fiction. I found it in the science fiction section of the bookstore when I was in the bookstore when I originally saw it. It is just labeled as fiction at my library, which doesn't mean anything. I didn't actually go in to pick it up, so I couldn't see whether it was in the science fiction section or not. I just requested it and they pulled it for me. But it doesn't read like science fiction, at least not the kind that I'm used to. Even, what's that guy who wrote The Martian and all of that, Artemis and Project Hail Mary? His books are science fiction because there's like a plot and a storyline. This doesn't seem to have any kind of real plot. It's more like a stream of consciousness of fictional astronauts, like what they would be thinking and their thought processes and things like that in a day of an astronaut. There's not even dialogue, so it really is just kind of stream of consciousness and like a look at what the Earth looks like from space and appreciating what our planet is, which is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't say that it is even really fiction. I mean, it is fiction because it's fictional astronauts, but it almost reads like nonfiction, like, I don't know, does that make sense? Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, I don't know. But yeah, it is interesting. It's got beautiful writing. I am enjoying it. It just doesn't read as fiction to me, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I realized that I've got my 3 physical books that I got from the library that I am going to be reading for this vlog, but at night I read on my Kindle. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to check out Libby, and I am going to pick out a book on Libby to read on my Kindle throughout this vlog, since I am kind of in between books at the moment as well. So hold that thought. I'm gonna pick a book and I'm gonna turn you around so you can see which book I've chosen. So I went through my Libby app. I put in the parameters for Kindle books available now, and that they're actually books as opposed to like magazines. And I think I'm gonna go with The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I've heard lots of good things about this one, and it's kind of like a literary fiction as opposed to anything else that I'm reading. I think we've got like sci-fi here, I've got like a fantasy, and I've got a historical fiction. So adding a little literary fiction to the mix might be fun. This one is basically about a man named A.J. Fikry who lives alone, and his bookstore is experiencing some difficulty, and a rare collection of Poe poems has been stolen. But a mysterious package appears at the bookstore, and its arrival gives Fikry the chance to make his life over and see everything anew. So I've heard really good things about this. It's supposed to be real cozy, and hopefully it won't put me to sleep, but I'll get this read. It's really short too, so I should be able to get it read while I'm reading these 3 books. Yeah, so let's go ahead and borrow. Yeah. All right, and I think read with Kindle. I'm gonna send it to my Kindle. Excellent. Good morning. I am just gonna give a quick update on my reading. Oh my God, my hair is a disaster. This is what happens when you have wavy hair and you don't brush it after your shower. We'll ignore it. Last night I read almost halfway through Orbital by Samantha Harvey. I am enjoying it, but I'm not seeing any like distinctive plot even. Like, it's just them going about their day. I don't know that there's a rising action, climax, denouement. I don't know where this is going. It's beautiful. It's absolutely a beautiful, gorgeous look at our Earth and space and humanity in general. I'm, like you can see, I'm tabbing it a lot. There's some beautiful writing in it, beautiful themes explored, some gorgeous quotes. But like I said, there's not really a lot going on in it, so I don't know how much there is to update on that one. I did start The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, and I realized once I started it that this is the same author who wrote Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow times 3, which was a very popular book. I think it won Book of the Year for lots of people in lots of places. I personally didn't love that book. It just wasn't for me. So I'm hoping that this one is better for me. So far, I'm not so sure. The premise of it is interesting. And I do like books about bookish people and books, so that's working for me so far, but I'm not sure where it's going either. Once again, it's a book that I'm just not sure where it's going. So we shall see on that one. It's still too early to tell whether I'm gonna like it or not. But I am gonna continue reading Orbital today during the day, hopefully finish it if I can, because there's not that much left, and I want to find out whether anything happens. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. So we shall see. Today we are supposed to go to the library for Foamnasium, which is this really cool like indoor playground type thing. Although it's such a nice day, I'm considering skipping that and taking him to the park instead, because it's beautiful. Like, it's a really, really nice day and it's not too cold outside. So might skip that and go to the park, and if I'm at the park, can read a little bit too, because he kind of does his own thing. It's kind of nice. Yeah, so considering going to the park, it's a really pretty day. Gonna get some reading done. We're gonna do some homeschooling, and I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride. So let's go. Good evening. It's been a day. I got majorly distracted today. I found this new program that I want to use with my 2-year-old for his preschool homeschool, and I was printing and laminating and cutting, and therefore I got like almost no reading done for Orbital by Samantha Harvey. The little bit that I did get done, it's not that I'm not liking it, I am. It reads like nonfiction, and I'm not a huge nonfiction reader. It takes me a lot longer to read nonfiction. It doesn't seem to hold my interest as much as fiction does. I don't obsess over it. There's no character growth or development in this. They're just our characters. There's no plot. There's just happening. It's almost like a slice of life, but in space. And like not fantasy creatures either, or sci-fi creatures. We're talking about like real human astronauts, or not real, fictional human astronauts in space doing what really human astronauts would do. You know what I mean? It's fun. Like it's good to read. I think there's like some really good things in it. I'm loving the passages that, you know, really like monologue about Earth and its beauty and space and its mystery and all of that, and that's really cool and all, but there's not a lot more than that happening, to be perfectly honest. So it's 200 pages of that, and just them telling you when they go to the bathroom, when they fix something, when they, whatever their little job is, and telling you what their duties are for the day. So yeah, I think that's kind of the point, is that it's monotonous up there, and so this is a little monotonous, but it makes it really hard to suck myself into it. I am gonna try and finish reading it because I've only got like a little less than 100 pages left, so I'm gonna try and finish it, if not tonight, then tomorrow morning. And I will get back to you with my final thoughts then. Night. All right, reading update. I finished Orbital by Samantha Harvey. I had like 50 pages left this morning, and I just read through it. I have very conflicting thoughts about this book, because on the one hand I really liked it, and on the other hand I didn't. There were quite a few things about it that I didn't like. I'm going to start with the things that I did like. The writing is gorgeous, and I love stories about space. Like, space has always intrigued me. I think it intrigues a lot of humans. And there's some beautiful lines about, I like the themes that this book explores. So for example, one of the things it explores is, you know, the idea of the beauty of space, or the beauty of space and the beauty of Earth. And when you're up in space, you realize how insignificant everything is. But you also start to realize the faults of humans. So for example, this quote says, "The planet is shaped by the sheer amazing force of human want, which has changed everything: the forests, the poles, the reservoirs, the glaciers, the rivers, the seas, the mountains, the coastlines, the skies, a planet contoured and landscaped by want." So clearly her writing is beautiful. She does this thing with like lists that I actually really like. I think it's almost lyrical. The prose is just very lyrical and almost like poetry. And she also talks about how trivial everything is. So our lives here are inexpressibly trivial and momentous at once. It seems he's about to wake up and say, both repetitive and unprecedented. We matter greatly and not at all, to reach some pinnacle of human achievement only to discover that your achievements are next to nothing, and that to understand this is the greatest achievement of any life, which itself is nothing, and also much more than everything. So the book kind of reads like that quote. It's saying something, but at the same time, it's saying nothing. It's very repetitive. It's very monotonous. That's kind of one of the things that I didn't like about it. I found it really easy to just be like, okay, I'm going to skim because this is exactly what it was saying before. But I think that's the point, because the way that my understanding of this is that when they're in orbit in this satellite, or whatever it's called, space station, everything is very monotonous. It's not as exciting as people expect it to be. As even the astronauts admit to thinking that their careers were going to be. It ends up being very monotonous. Same sunset, same sunrise, 16 times sunset and sunrise, 16 sunsets and sunrise in a day. That's crazy. So, I mean, in some ways it's cool to think about. I think the writing is really interesting. I think the way that it was done is very cool, but at the same time, monotony becomes boring. So the other issue that I had was I think I said there was no dialogue in this. I was wrong. There is dialogue. But she doesn't use quotation marks, and that's kind of a big pet peeve of mine. I know a lot of people like Sally Rooney. She doesn't use quotation marks either. It makes me crazy. Like, it doesn't hurt your story to use quotation marks, and it helps me see who's talking and when. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Excuse my son, he's there rolling his things. But that's really the only pet peeve on the writing style that I have. I thought the writing style in this was great. Actually, the way that it sounds, like, it feels like a documentary. I could totally hear, is it David Attenborough, the guy who does Planet Earth? I could totally hear him narrating this in my head the entire time. But just like a documentary, there's no climax, there's no resolution, it just is. And there's these allusions to the fact that the space station is cracking. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So there's these allusions to the fact that the space station, especially the Russian side of it, is cracking, and it's going to essentially be destroyed in, I don't know, it actually tells you how many orbits it has left, because they're able to determine that, I'm sure. I'm sure there's engineers and scientists that can tell you that. But I almost think it would have been a more exciting story if, like, that had been that's what we were culminating at, but it wasn't. And I'm sure that was on purpose, because the whole purpose of this book is supposed to be about the mystery of space, the beauty of Earth, the insignificance of humanity, and also the significance humanity is having on our planet at the same time. So like I said, there's a lot to dissect in this book. I thought it was really good, but at the same time, I didn't love it. I'm gonna hold on to my star rating for this one for a little bit and kind of think on it, because I think I need to just sit with my thoughts for a little bit and see how I feel about it. But that being said, I have to decide between The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic and the Radcliffe Ladies Reading Club. I kind of want to go with The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, because it seems more magical, and I am a fantasy girly. So after a more heavier, almost nonfiction read, I think I want to go with something a little more fantastical. So I think I'm going to go with this one, and I will be updating you as I read The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. Hi, update. So I've gotten absolutely no reading done today. That's the update. I have done prepping for homeschool. We've done some homeschool stuff. I've cooked. We went to the grocery store. We had a little Starbucks date. But reading has not happened. It's been non-existent. So, but my husband did just get home. He gets home early on Fridays, and he took my son out to the shed with him. So the workshop, shed, whatever. He's out there with him, and I just finished emptying the dishwasher. Food's already cooking. So I think I'm gonna take this time and actually get some reading done. Let's see how much I can read before my son decides that he's done with daddy time and he needs mommy again. So I'm gonna go ahead, sit down, get myself comfy, and get reading. Okay, something really cool about the unfortunate side effects of Heartbreak and Magic is at the end of every chapter, there is a recipe. I almost wish that I could read this super slow and like read a chapter, make the recipe, read the chapter, make the recipe. But it's a library book, so I don't have that. And I'm like using it for a vlog, that would take forever. But I think what I am gonna do is at the end of it, I'm gonna pick like 1 or 2 recipes to make, and I'll take you guys through that also. So yeah, that's really exciting. I haven't read a book with a recipe in a while. I think the last time was like a cozy mystery in high school or middle school. So that's really cool. I wonder if this is gonna be more like a cozy mystery then with the recipes inside of it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited though. Good morning. Update on my reading. So yesterday I got almost no reading done in this. I made it to like page 25. So not a great reading day as far as daytime. I got so much done though. Like I cooked, I cleaned, I got some more lessons prepped for my son's homeschool, so I was busy with other things. And you know, sometimes that's just how it goes. But I did have some time to read at night on my Kindle, and I've continued reading The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, and I'm enjoying it. You know, I didn't love Tomorrow, like I said, but this one is cute. Like there's a very found family aspect to it, and there's a little romance brewing. So I'm excited to keep on reading it and see how it goes. Today, I think we are going, my husband needs a haircut, so we're gonna take him and then go to Lowe's for some things we need for, he's building a big workshop in our backyard, so we've got to get some stuff for that. And then hopefully I actually have time to read a little bit more today. That would be really nice. I'd like to get at least 100 pages into the side effects of the unfortunate side effects of Heartbreak and Magic. I will say that so far it is cute. Like there's not a lot you can say 25 pages in. There is a bipolar side character, and this can either be a really good thing or a really bad thing, and it depends on the research that the author did or her personal experiences. Sometimes bipolar characters end up being caricatures of bipolar disorder, and bipolar disorder is such a nuanced thing, and I say this as someone who has bipolar disorder. So I am curious to see how that goes. That could make or break this book for me, because it could really put me off. So far, I'm okay with it. She's even a Hispanic bipolar character, which is really funny because I'm Hispanic as well. So hopefully I really connect with this side character, and it makes the book just that much better for me. Otherwise, it might be a bad thing. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully 100 pages in, I'll be able to get a better feel for whether they're doing a good job with it or not. So I will keep you guys updated. Hi, hello. It's been a while since my last update. I am almost halfway through the unfortunate side effects of Heartbreak and Magic. And I am enjoying it a lot. I definitely get why it says for fans of Practical Magic and Gilmore Girls. The way that they talk about the Revelair magic is very, very similar, like almost identical to the way the magic in Practical Magic is talked about. And then there are characters that are almost identical to characters in Gilmore Girls. In fact, one just showed up that is totally Miss Patty. I mean, she just straight up like quoted Miss Patty. So, but I mean, it's not a bad thing. I love Gilmore Girls and I love Practical Magic, and the merging of those two things is making me very happy. In fact, I had like toyed with the idea of writing fan fiction for Gilmore Girls where Lorelai and Rory were actually witches, and this is basically that. So now I don't have to do it. Whoopee for me, right? So anyway, I am really enjoying it. I like the vibes of the book. It is not a fast read at all, though. It's more of a medium-paced book, which is great. So I'm taking my time with it and enjoying the ride and loving all the cozy small-town feels. I'm hoping to be done with it in a day or two, so that way I can start reading a book for a book club. But yeah, so far this is going really, really well. I've had Oh, AJ Fikry. Sorry, random thought. I am more than halfway through AJ Fikry now, and I am loving it. So much better than Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. AJ Fikry is much more up my alley. I think that the characters are quirky and funny. I think that the story that's being told is beautiful and lovely. I like the relationships between the characters and the character development of Mr. AJ Fikry himself, how these new people coming into his life change him. Not always for the better, but just generally change him. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the story, and I can't wait to finish. It's really short, so I'll probably finish it, if not tonight, then tomorrow night. And that's all the update I've got for you. I'm gonna keep on reading my book. My husband took my son and is giving me a little bit of a break because he's sick and he's been all on top of me. So yeah, that is my update for right now, and I'm gonna get back to reading. Bye. Good morning. Just wanted to give a little update on my reading. I know I've been really bad about it in these last few days. My son is sick and it has kind of screwed up my whole life. But I am about 2/3 of the way through with The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. And I definitely think that with a book like this, you need to check the trigger warnings. That some of the content could be a little much for someone going through certain things, and it's you know what, it's not a spoiler. Well, it is a spoiler. If you don't want to know, cover your ears for 5 seconds. It does deal with the loss of someone from cancer. Okay, you can look now. So it does have some heavy moments in it, and yeah, there's some things going on with the romance that I'm not thrilled about. I'm not sure how it's going to wrap it up in a tidy bow. This may not have a happily ever after, or at least not happily ever after for me. Yeah. But so far I am really enjoying it. I like the side characters. I like the main character, Sadie. She's got her flaws for sure, but I think she's a dynamic character, and I like to see where her character growth is going. Yeah, so that's all I've got on The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. And then last night I finished The Storied Life of AJ Fikry. It was such a beautiful story, but another one that you need to check the trigger warnings on. I'm not going to say what they are because it's definitely you almost want to go into it blind, but if you're someone who's easily triggered, I definitely would check the trigger warnings because there's some content in there that could be very triggering just for someone. But it was a heartbreaking story. It made me cry. And for that reason, I cannot give it 5 stars because I will never read this book again. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal, beautifully written, great characters, amazing plot. Really, there's nothing wrong with this book except that I will never read it again because it made me cry. And I already have a stuffy nose, so I didn't need any additional stuffy noses. Basically, I reserve my 5-star ratings for books that are absolutely perfect and I will read again. And unfortunately, this is just one that's not gonna hit the bill. So I'm glad that I borrowed it from the library because that means that I got to enjoy this wonderful, beautiful story, but I don't have to have it clogging my shelves or find a way to get rid of it now. There are some beautiful quotes in it. Let me see if I can find some to share with you. Where is it? Uh-oh, did I return it already? There it is. Where are my quotes? Here we go. So I highlighted quite a bit. So lots of bookish quotes. They had only ever discussed books, but what in this life is more personal than books? Let's see. You know everything you need to know about a person from the answer to this question. What is your favorite book? And I actually totally agree with that. Sometimes books don't find us until the right time. Lots of bookish quotes. So many bookish quotes. Why is any one book different from any other book? They are different, AJ decides, because they are. We have to look inside many. We have to believe. We agree to be disappointed sometimes so that we can be exhilarated every now and again. The longer I do this, book selling, yes, of course, but also living, if that isn't too awfully sentimental, the more I believe that this is what the point of it all is, to connect, my dear little nerd, only connect. We read to know we're not alone. We read because we are alone. We read and we are not alone. We are not alone. We aren't the things we collect, acquire, read. We are, for as long as we are here, only love. The things we loved, the people we loved, and I think these really do live on. I like talking about books with people who like talking about books. I like paper, I like how it feels, and I like the feel of a book in my back pocket. I like how a new book smells, too. So many bookish quotes. It really was such a beautiful book, and I think it's perfect for people who are bibliophiles, for sure. My son is probably got snot running down his nose right now, so I've got to go. But yeah, I will keep you updated. Hopefully today I finish this Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic. If not, tomorrow morning. Like I said, I'm not in a rush to finish anything. I'm just going to keep on going. But I do think that I'm going to stop this vlog once I finish that book. So yes, I'm gonna let you go and I will check back later. Bye. So I'm reading outside. My son wanted to play a little bit outside, so I figured I'd bring my book out and get some reading done. And I just keep having this thought that this book is such a good book for a book club to read together. Not only is there, it's a good story, but also there's just so much to dissect and talk about. There's her grandmother being sick and the second chance romance aspect of it, and the little twist with that one that I wasn't seeing, the relationship with her family and her brother. There's a lot that could be talked about with this book. And then on top of everything else, how fun would it be if everyone, when they met up to discuss the book, brought in one of the recipes from the book? That would be so much fun. I wish I had an in-person book club. That would just be the best. That would just be the best. We would read this book and make recipes. That's what we would do. Good evening, and welcome to my final update of this vlog, because I finished The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall, and I have some mixed opinions about this book, because on the one hand, I completely enjoyed myself while reading this. It was cozy, it was a little bit magical, the characters were a little zany, and if I close my eyes to some of the problematic stuff, it was an enjoyable read. Like, probably even like a 4-star enjoyable read. But, there was some stuff that was problematic in it. So, for example, there is a character in here who is bipolar, and I get that the point of her being bipolar is that she has experienced therapy and the benefits of it, and relaying that message to the main character and her twin brother. However, I don't know that she necessarily had to have bipolar disorder and have like gone through this crazy stage that they like made it a point to mention. She was clearly in a manic episode, but she just comes off as having been like this damaged, crazy person who's now fixed because of medication and therapy. And I don't know that she necessarily had to have bipolar disorder to have gone to therapy. I don't think you have to have bipolar disorder to go to therapy. I think everybody should go to therapy. So I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still processing that. The other issue I have, the bigger issue that I have, is and this is kind of a spoiler, so if you want no spoilers on this book, please, it's been lovely seeing you. This is going to be the last post, so I will see you in the next video. But if you want to hear my spoilers as to why this book was problematic, stick around. There are some spoilers for it. So I'll start them now. Okay. One of the things that happens is that the reason that Sadie and Seth are born is because their mother was raped by this man. And, uh-oh. Hold on, my son's awake. Well, last night my son threw up all over himself. So I know that I was talking about the end of The Unfortunate Side Effect of Magic and an issue that I had with it. So basically, and this is the spoiler section, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, it was lovely seeing you and I will see you in the next video, but I am going to talk about some spoilers because they were the issues that I had with this book. So first of all, the mom. The way that Seth and Sadie come into existence is she's essentially raped. And it's kind of minimized in this book. Like, I mean, the grandmother like kills the guy, so clearly it's not that minimized. But yeah, she's raped, and then Sadie, she has this moment with her mother where she basically victim blames her, and I take real issue with that. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So the other thing that I kind of had an issue with is they don't refer to themselves as witches in this. They just say they have magic, which, hello, that means you're a witch. But there's like these very subtle, or not so subtle, honestly, undertones of Christianity and like, especially like Southern Baptist Christianity. And so that makes me think that I couldn't recommend this to just anyone. Like, it didn't bother me. I was able to overlook that and still enjoy the book. But, you know, it kind of does bother me a little bit. So yeah, besides those three little things, or three big things, depending on your opinions, this book was actually pretty enjoyable, and I had a good time reading it. So I am gonna stop there for this vlog. I was gonna try to read The Radcliffe Ladies Reading Club by Julia Bryan Thomas, but this video is officially 1 week long and I need to read some books for my book club. So this will have to wait, or maybe get returned to the library before I get to read it. It's a shame, but it happens. And so yeah, let's go over the books that I read. We had Orbital by Samantha Harvey, and I have sat on this and I have thought about my rating, and I think I'm gonna go with 3 stars because, you know, there were things about it that were really good, that made it enjoyable. I wanted to continue reading, but at the same time, there's no plot in this, and I don't think it's a book for everybody. So 3 stars for Orbital by Samantha Harvey. Next, I finished The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin, and that one I actually rated 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed that one, much more than Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is the other book of hers that I've read. Highly recommend it. I think that it is definitely a story for everyone. I don't know that I'll be rereading it because it is very sad and a little bit heavy. So do check your trigger warnings on that before you read it. But yeah, and then the last book I read was The Unfortunate Side Effect of Heartbreak and Magic, and I am rating this one a 3.5 because of all the aforementioned things. I found it really enjoyable. If it hadn't had those big issues that it had, it probably would have been a 4-star read because it was very readable. But it did have some issues that I took issue with, and I don't think it's a book for everybody. I do think it would make an interesting book club book, I still do, and I did love the inclusion of the recipes. So as you can hear, my son is freaking out. I am going to have to go deal with that. It was lovely reading with you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!